Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Wednesday, October 6, 2010. It is Wednesday. It is Day Night Daily number 195. Goodness, we're close to Day Night Daily number 200. Have something special planned for that, finally. But, you know, we're gonna table that for now because we actually have a very special guest who's coming on today because we had Friendday Monday where we do goofy things. We had Newbie Tuesday where we really try to get down to some of those lower mechanics and that sort of good stuff so we can all be champion diamond players. And today's theme is Friendday Wednesday where I bring on a friend for 1 hour. Say hello to everyone, Gretorp.
Hello.
Oh, perfect. He's there on chat. The sound levels are balanced so that way he's not screeching. If Gretorp were StarCraft 2, I'd probably inadvertently have him muted for most of the cast, but I planned ahead today. Planned ahead. So before we go into the game, I need to let you know that Windows Automatic Updates has just notified me that updates have been installed, and it is begging me to restart my computer. And I don't know about you, but my options for Remind Me Later are 5 minutes and 15 minutes, and those are the only options that I have. So I don't really know if it will continue to notify me during the daily, but if it suddenly shuts off, it's because of Windows Automatic Updates. So today, what we are going to be doing is looking at one of Gretorp's games where he played a Terran vs. Protoss against Oxlov, who's really, really good, who recently played very, very well in the EG vs. Root clan war. So in that... in those games, we saw Oxlov, as well as many other Protosses, generally go for a very late-game focused play where they just kind of turtle and don't really attack and just continue to take more and more and more bases and just make the Terran come to them. And this has become an increasingly difficult style for Terrans to play against because, as Little One describes, in Terran vs. Protoss, you start off going Marine Marauder, Medevac, Ghost, and that's all you can really do for the rest of the game. There's no next steps, there's no more transitions to do. So a lot of Terrans are starting to say that Protoss is becoming the increasingly difficult race to beat. Protoss is becoming the new Terran. People are calling it Imba. So of course we brought on a Super Gosu Terran, Andre, aka Gretorp, to walk us through one of his games where that actually did happen. Now, Gretorp, before I give you a chance to say anything at all, I just want to do a few announcements. Tomorrow I'm getting on a plane and going to New York City to do the Intel Extreme Masters American Championship. So that's going to be awesome because it's a very small player pool, so we can see a lot of games of the same players in there. And then after that, I'm going to MLG the following weekend, do a little shoutcasting. The weekend after that, I'm going to BlizzCon because I'm just a total fanboy and I bought my ticket. And then the weekend after that, I'm going to the MSI Cup in Phoenix to do a little casting there. And then, of course, in November, DreamHack in Sweden. So hope to see you at all those. And even if you can't get enough Day 9 Live, I will be on the Old Spice Report as doing a little preview for MLG DC tomorrow at 4 p.m. So go check out Old Spice Report. So, Gretorp, how are you, dude?
Doing wonderful, man. How are you?
Well, it's Friendday Wednesday. This is a weird experience for me because I actually am interacting with another human being.
I know. I actually get to ask you questions, man.
Oh, really? That's
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, man. You get the hotline for this. And now I must say, as much as I want to chat, we do have to dive into the game because it is a long one. So I'm actually going to return here to the StarCraft screen and ask you if you are ready to roll with me.
Oh, I'm more than ready, man.
All right, I'm on normal speed. I'm going to do the good old 3, 2, 1, play, and we are currently synced up. I'm actually just going to wait a few seconds, and now I'm going to hit play because I actually started at the 3-second mark. And there's you with your usual friendliness. Now, you are on the map Steppes of War, which I actually am increasingly despising as a map because of the fact that, you know, there's this natural expansion and everything's up on a high ground cliff, so it's pretty easy to turtle on 3 bases, in my experience. Are you feeling the same little theme that I have been feeling?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's really tough. There are little movement tricks if the Protoss overexpands too fast, because the natural and the second base is kind of in the open. So you can do little medevac tricks and stuff like that. But I think the Protoss, they're getting a lot smarter and they're increasingly fending that off, and I think the new metagame is going to be going Phoenix to deal with the medevacs, because currently we don't see any contesting of air control. So medevacs are basically running free, and not only that, they have a lot of implied pressure. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much.
Well, it's totally true. I mean, like, medevacs drive people insane. And now I'm going to do something. I'm gonna hit ×2 right now just to speed it up, just so we can get to the more interesting parts of the game. I notice you do this very tight little wall off with your barracks and your supply depot, which I assume helps protect this SCV who's building the barracks. It makes it a little harder for that probe to do damage to it. Also very useful against zealots. And I'm going to slow down now. I'm at 2 minutes and 45 seconds, and I've just hit the good old normal speed. So you're doing your usual one barracks opening. You're getting harassed a little bit. What are your transitions from here? Do you have a completely planned out opening? I see you send out an SCV early on to respawn, and it does look like you're throwing down a second racks super fast.
Yeah, I think the 2 racks, it gives the most ability to change it up on this map. There's a lot of different things. You can even go 2 racks. You can go mass marauder into 3 racks. You can go 2 racks and expand off of that. You can go 2 racks and tech. So there's a lot of ambiguity that you can do with this, and I just like where it puts you into going into. I generally do a fast expansion build. I think it's the most. I don't know. It's best for training, and of course this was a ladder match, so I actually went 2 racks expand on this map.
What are your thoughts on going for like a 1 racks expand, skipping this second barracks and just planting down at the expo right away, or planting up in the main? Because we did see Into the Rainbow do that against Tester. We've seen a lot of the Root Gaming players do that sort of jazz.
Yeah, I don't like it because it forces my unit composition too early in the game. I like the ambiguity, so I don't want the Protoss. I mean, like, it's an experience thing, so the less experienced players are going to lose to me more often than the more experienced. Yeah. But I like just the ability to change up my unit composition, so I can go straight, barracks units, or I can go 3 starports and just change it up completely and punish Protosses for not, there's some Protoss that aren't getting robotics facilities at all, and being very bold with cannons. And I have that possibility now of doing stuff like that I wouldn't be able to with just the implied pressure that is given when you only 1 racks expand.
I see you murdering the Ursadat calf here in the center of the map. You also threw down a Ghost Academy and then immediately expanded. I've seen you be one of the players more prominently getting ghosts almost in every Terran vs. Protoss. Do you ever do like pushes right around now? Because a lot of people are getting the ghost defensively. It obviously shuts down a lot of the early sentry pressure that you can put on with like 3-4 warp gate action. And if you're going early expand, it seems like you're almost forced into defense. But like how do you deal with that response? I see you're adding on a 3rd barrack, so it seems like, is that more of a defensive move or is that an aggressive move?
Yeah, right now there's no position for me to be pressuring in. It's just I don't have enough DPS really to deal with very defensive Protoss that just mass up on, let's say, zealots. And if I am against a 1 basing Protoss, I can be in a lot of trouble for not having this army composition, because I'm actually getting, if you can see, not a lot of Marauders. This 1 Marauder is actually allowing me to expand pretty freely. I don't want to be getting too many Marauders because that's obviously going to reduce the speed of my tech. So I really want to just keep that 1 Marauder and keep it safe, and rather than pressing in, I'm just taking it easy.
So it looks like you've gone for 3 barracks. I see a very fast double reactor on these 2 barracks, and I like the timing of you getting these reactors. Right around the time you're getting your expansion up and you have a good defensive force, you have enough time to get reactors, because I think people don't quite acknowledge how unbelievably, stupidly long a reactor takes to build. So people will die in that intermediary period. And it looks like Oxalov, because I haven't really been paying attention to his base too much, he went for a very fast expand. He just went 2 warp gate robo right into expand. He may have even gone 1 warp gate, 1 robo, and then expanded, adding on the 2nd gate later. But either way, it has that same basic look that a lot of early expanding players have of, getting an Immortal and some gateway units, and then getting the Colossus right away. So, for you, looking at your perspective, it looks like he has an expansion up. But I'm actually going to pause here I'm at 8 minutes and 28 seconds right now, and I'm just going to kind of poke around your base. You have a little bit more of a little bit of an unusual in that you have 2 reactors on your barracks. Most people will have 2 tech labs and 1 reactor, and will be going for the starport with the reactor. Can you talk a little bit about your composition, mainly in terms of what your goal is for the immediate mid game?
Sure. Well, the way I see it is Terran right now has a little bit of a lull in terms of pressure.
Definitely.
The Colossus tech is just way too strong for you to be able to pressure. Defensive Colossus with that coupled with great force fields, it's almost impossible to pressure on right now. You don't really know when they got the range, so you don't know if it's a great time to push in or it's not a good time to push in. So for me to push in right now and prepare for that, it's kind of silly. But I expect Colossus Tech right now, and if it's not Colossus Tech, it's going to be Immortals. And in my opinion, Marines are a great way to deal with Immortals. And of course, I have my EMPs and stuff. So and of course, it's great TPS against mass gateway units. But I saw the robotics facility, and I said to myself, well, it's probably going to be Colossus. If I get Marauders and they have range, is it going to be that big of a deal? Probably not. So let me go ahead and work on killing all of those zealots to give my Marauders room to kill the Stalkers, and then my Vikings can actually snipe freely at the
so are you going straight to Viking with your starport, or are you?
I'm going to be going correct straight to Viking.
Really?
That's going to be my main defense against the Colossus, because really there's no cost efficient way to deal with Colossus, in my opinion, other than to get the Vikings, of course.
Yeah, or just hurling shit at them. That's always Gosu. So I actually have two specific questions that that I want to blast through real fast before we resume this long game. You're getting stim quite late, like really late compared to at least how I would get them. For me, I normally rely on stim, so that way my small force at the front can deal with any sort of early push, or also on a map like Xel'Naga Caverns. It's more open. I use the stim to just be aggressive straight up. What was it necessarily that influenced your stim? That's my first question about that stim timing. Because, like, do you get the chance to actually build that much more stuff if you delay stim that much?
It was just how it affected my tech, in my opinion. I know that there's no real timing for me to attack. So, and stim is generally going to be a more, I mean, it is good for defense, don't get me wrong. It's great for defense, but in my opinion, like, if I'm already defending, well, I didn't see stim necessary for me to defend effectively.
Yeah,
I think bunkers. Correct.
Bunker.
I think bunkers and just a good unit composition is going to keep me safe, and no Colossus is going to be able to hit me because by the time they get one Colossus out, I can just pop my Marauders in the bunker, be completely safe, or I can, and then when the 9 range comes up, I'm already going to have those Vikings out to be safe against it. So my position, there was no priority.
Before you say anything else, I'm resuming right now, just because I know how long this game is. So do continue with your point. Just wanted to be synced with you.
There's just no priority it's not top priority to get that stim. So I said, okay, I'll leave it back a little bit and just focus on getting my tech going. And
wow, that is really interesting. Because for me, I almost always get that stim pack and that combat shield very early on. Generally before my starport. So, wow, yeah, that's actually a definite really fast tech. We're at 9 minutes, and you already have your reactor starport and your expo up. Yeah, look at that. 2 Vikings getting slammed out right away, and it looks like you gave that reactor to the starport, took it away from the barracks. I mean, most people build it on the factory, but I see you moving your factory out forward. Is there any reasoning for that? Why you didn't just go for the tech lab barracks right at the start?
I definitely could have. I think that's actually a little bit of a blunder. I think, I don't know. I definitely should have, though. I think there's no reason for me to have this barracks out too early. I just know Axlav. I don't know. This game I was very paranoid because I actually haven't played Axlav in a while from this game, and I know he was before that. He was he was beating me left and right, and I was just kind of paranoid because I know he was doing very aggressive openings back then. So I was kind of expecting him to do a Colossus push. So I just wanted to have
the exact opposite. Look at him. He's just like, oh, great, now I can take my third and sit on my ass even longer. Which, unfortunately, is really, really strong. Like, he is just beasting it up in this matchup as of late. Again, check out EG versus Root. That was some very excellent games there. So, it looks like you're just going for your third. And I'm curious about what is your overall long-term game plan? Because this is, I think, the period in time where a lot of players start having a lot of discomfort. On a map like Xel'Naga Caverns, we have our double starport. We can just slam out a bunch of medevacs and begin being aggressive and begin taking a lot of expansions and abusing the fact that Colossi kind of have to stay slow and clustered. But on Steps of War, you can just turtle for a million years when you're in Oxlov's position. So, I mean, do you intend on busting that, or do you intend on staying back?
Well, for now, there's no way I can bust anything, and yeah, I'm actually very scared right now because I don't like how the game is going out towards, and I think what I needed to do, well, how I'm positioning myself is gonna be just get a buttload of Vikings and be able to win in that middle, because the middle is the biggest feature about this map. It allows you to surround, and good micro, you can actually out micro Colossus if the Colossus count is low. So what I'm trying to do is keep the Colossus count as low as possible. I don't want it to go up at all. So that's all I'm thinking in my head. Just get a butt ton of Vikings, and then have mass mass barracks, I should say, and so that when the battle settles, you know, I can reproduce extremely fast. So I'm gonna be banking a little bit if I do cap 200 cap.
All right, so I am currently at 12 minutes and 45 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and times to it. I see you have a medevac here at the top corner, also next to his 2 starports, where he's producing quite a few phoenixes. There's just some basic movement around the middle of the map. I see you throwing down this defensive sensor tower. Looks like you're doing a little bit of harassment here at the edge, but pulling back. I definitely love that, because that's one of those like guaranteed damage situations. You just shoot a little bit and back off. And now you have your drop going on the top, so I'm slowing it back down to normal speed. I'm at just hit 14 minutes. And that drop didn't go so well.
Actually, the purpose of that drop, a lot of people misunderstand. I mean, yeah, it's great for harassment and everything, and yeah, it's a little bit of an economy loss. If you think I lost, you know, a good, what is that, 8 Marines, so 400 minerals, and of course the medevac. But I got a lot of intelligence out of that. I saw the double starport or Stargate, and more importantly, I saw the exact unit composition. So I kind of know exactly where I am in terms of his stalker count and his zealot count to sentry count to colossus count. So I know how to navigate my army composition correctly, because you don't want to overdo it with marauders, of course. That's the biggest thing. So that's how I'm kind of gaining a little bit of information with that.
Yeah, I'm actually going to pause it right now. I'm at 1507. I hope you're still synced with me. I'm like pausing, speeding up all over the place.
Exactly at 1507.
Oh, look at this. Oh, true pro gamer timing right there. But like, so that I think is something that I personally struggle with, and I know a lot of people struggle with, is just that it's so addictive to just only make marauders. So, especially in the later stages of the game. And I'm curious what your barracks mix looks like, because when I'm looking at your army composition right now, I see that it's literally half and half, Marines and Marauders. There's probably a few extra Marines in there, but again, they do produce a little bit faster because of those reactors. But is that the mix you're going for? I know a lot of people have fear of getting too many Marines because the Colossi devastate them so quickly. So I don't know if you could just give your thoughts on having a lot of Marines in the late stages of the game.
Yeah, I mean, Marines are definitely very, very brittle against them, but I think I think at endgame people are misusing the Marines. They should be actually more support units, so they should stay back a little bit instead of going up to the front line, and the Marauder is going to be tanking damage. It gives you more susceptibility to your Marauders dying really, really fast, but you need to kill all of those Zealots and those to even get to the Stalkers. So in my mind, it's like you need to... 50-50 is, I think, in my opinion, very strong. But if you have a larger zealot count, that's when things really, really get tough, and you have to get a lot more Marines.
Yeah, definitely.
And your Viking play has to be a lot more dynamic than what it is now. Right now, I'm just circling. But I do want to mention one thing really, really quickly, and you're going to see an extra 4 barracks being plopped down. Normally, because I have the capacity to go to 6 gas, but I don't, right? Instead, what my theory on this was, I saw 2 Stargates. So specifically what I'm looking at is gas concentration, and because those 2 Stargates exist, it kind of tanks a lot of the Viking damage, or at least eliminates my Vikings a lot. So I said it's just like, think of it. I know I'm going back to StarCraft 1 as a reference.
I love that game. Go ahead. All
right.
Please continue.
Okay, think about TVP in StarCraft 1 where you get a lot of tanks and vultures.
Yeah.
Now think about, instead of getting tanks, you're getting vessels, right? Well, what does Protoss do to counter that? Let's just say it's like mid-game. What does Protoss do to counter that? They can either, you know, transition with the correct amount of, like, let's say arbiters, or they can get a buttload of gateways and just make it such that the vessel count doesn't even matter, the support units don't even matter, and you completely overwhelm it.
Okay,
so I know there's two Stark.
I'm going to try to translate this for people who didn't play the original Brood War. So tanks were the same good old tanks that are in StarCraft 2. Vultures were kind of like Hellions, so you can basically effectively think of them that way. The most important thing is that Hellions take no gas, tanks take a good amount of gas, and vessels, that Andre's talking about, take an absurd amount of gas, right? A lot of gas. So what this means is that the more vessels you get, the far fewer tanks you get. So you can sort of battle the vessel head on and sort of say, well, how do I deal with vessels? And make the units that respond to that. Or you can say, well, let me pretend vessels don't exist for a second. He has less tanks. How do I exploit that? So what I'm gleaning what you're saying is that if there's two Stargates going out right now, that's a lot of the gas that would have gone into Colossus or Templar or other gas-related things. So you're just going to focus heavy on the better way to deal with the Colossus half, or should I say the non-Stargate half?
Correct. And that's why you see, if you look at my starport, it stopped making Vikings and switching to medevacs because I just need it to support now rather than to attack the Colossus.
Oh, that's so clever. Oh, going back to your starport. All right. Wow. Okay, I am resuming now. That is an excellent point. So again, just to reiterate that point that he made, if you see them making some kind of unit, rather than thinking, how do I battle that unit directly, think about what resources those eat up. Phoenixes eat up gas. There are less Colossi. So just go heavy into the stuff that kills Colossi. I like that quite a bit. Now would you ever just snag a few extra ghosts to try to EMP these Phoenixes? Or is it more just the anti-air attack that Phoenixes do that you're worried about?
It's really just the tanking damage, because if I A-move, the first couple shots are going to go to the Phoenixes without a doubt. And I'm like really bad at multitasking in my opinion, so it's like really tough for me to deal with it. But yeah, I think an EMP on the Phoenixes would have been great. I mean, it's never bad to do that, but you know, it's getting there because ghosts are so freaking slow.
Yeah. And also noticing that you have everything in one gigantic control group. Do you... Now, I know a lot of people, you know, don't quite practice what they preach. I occasionally just want to 1A shit, but I feel like if you broke up those Marines into a separate control group to sort of like pull them back, or do you micro them just individually in the battle? Like, how do you control your big armies?
Yeah, I've gotten really good with the tabbing of one control group. So what I'll do is I'll tab and then control left click and bring things back or forth or whatever it might be. So, I mean, in theory, it's terrible because I'm not really doing anything with my second control group or my third control group. That's definitely something I have to work on, without a doubt. But, you know, no, there's no excuse for that. I should really work on that.
So I'm seeing your first big encounter here, and my volume is really, really loud on my end. No, that was my mouse sensitivity I just decreased. Hold on, give me a second. Oh my god, I tried to turn down the sound a little bit because it was very loud on my computer's end. But instead, I just dropped my mouse sensitivity to 0%. Alright, I'm back again. So I'm seeing that this is the first major push you've actually made, is to the bottom corner, to this expansion. Is this what you were waiting for this gold expansion, this vulnerability to open up?
Actually, he just gave that to me. He kind of messed that up, to be completely honest. And you can see this first, I hope you're at 1830 or so?
I'm at 1819.
Oh, shit.
So
Okay,
I'm seeing some big EMPs at 1825. I forgot that reducing my sound makes me enter the menu. But it looks like he's getting caught off. Yeah, I'm at 1835 right now. And some Colossi getting caught off guard, because this, for me, would seem like a very advantageous spot for you. You just killed the Expo, his army got split, and you do have the chance to do, oh yeah, exactly what you're doing right now.
Yeah, and you can see, like, this trade was actually not as great as I wanted it to be. I actually wanted it to be... Oh, actually, no, it was. Excuse me. So, the biggest thing is, just like in TVB and StarCraft 1, it's getting rid of that Colossus count, because that's the majority of where his gas is going to be. You know, that's his big units right now. So that's why that exchange actually worked out for me, because I killed all but one Colossus. So that's, in my opinion, that was a huge win in that battle. And now that like I have all this space, it allows my movement of these units, these well, all these units that are harassing the gold. It just allows it to be that much more effective because I can micro one Colossus much better than I can micro 3 Colossus or 4 Colossus.
Yeah. In small number, Marines and Marauders are so good. I mean, as we're seeing right here, I mean, just picking off those Colossi relatively easily. Because, I mean, that's such an interesting thing to note, that really, it's after this big attack that you did at the bottom, and then after you picked off these Colossi, we're seeing just like this dramatic up-ramp in your aggression. Now, in terms of expanding, it looks like you've been pretty broke this whole time. It looks like just now you're scooting up to the top to take a gold expansion. Is this just the general time that you get it after you've had your third for some time? Is it related to the aggression you're doing at the bottom here?
No, this is just, you have to freestyle it from here. It's just whatever your judgment call would be. Right now, I knew I had to expand because well, I didn't have to, but I have an advantage without a doubt. He has a lull in Colossus, so I know I have a little bit of a timing where he cannot attack me at all. If he goes into that center, it's good game. So I have timing to take that expansion. So I said, might as well go ahead and take it. Cut units just a little bit, and then I go ahead here. And right now, I'm feeling like the king of the world right now. I really didn't see a way that I could lose right now, but that changed dramatically because I get really cocky with my advantages, and he's really that's my single biggest problem. After I played this game, I was like, wow, I hate myself.
Now, because I've heard you say that so many times, like, oh yeah, in that game I got cocky. Okay, that game I could have gone unlocked, but I got cocky. Like, what exactly does cockiness imply? Okay, this is what I do. I get really stubborn with my unit compositions, and I'm just like, no matter what, instead of playing intelligent, like, doing movement tricks, right here I should have been doing medevac drops. There's no reason not to. I should have been doing movement plays. I should have been trying to do so many different things, kill the robotics, kill the tech in the back, and I didn't even try to do any of that. And you can see I'm just going to be stimming in here and just attacking freely, like I own the place. And I just do these very bold moves, just assuming that my advantage is so insurmountable that there's no way I could lose. And that's my #1 biggest problem. Well, and I don't know about you, but that attack was pretty damn good at 23-13. Like, looks like you got quite a bit of stuff. Yeah, I mean, because you said you walked in there like you own the place. I think it actually is yours.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't happen right now, but you can see I have a complete reduction in my medevac count. And in reality, if I'm off 6 gas, I should be able to double starport easily. You can see that I haven't really, well, I just started mining off of my 5th and 6th gas, and now I'm going to be having my 7th and 8th gas, so there's no reason why I shouldn't be starport teching right now, because that's going to be the ultimate counter to a heavy Colossus play. It's just complete starport tech.
Is it just a lot of battle cruisers or banshees?
Yeah, a lot of well, battlecruiser would be great, but battlecruiser Viking is going to be really, really strong against that that army, the mass Colossus, mass Colossus, because you want to be just massing on Viking, because you're gonna get screwed big time. Because after the battle's over, it's like, oh, now I have all these Vikings that are completely inefficient at life,
And it looks like you're doing another nice movement player, just sort of picking off in his main, and he's engaging you at not the nicest angle for you.
Yeah, actually this was terrible for me.
God.
I cried really bad. This is what I'm talking about. I just have so much audacity to do anything I want that I put myself, I'm like, there's no reason to go in and attack the main. It's just stupid. I should be focusing on killing that gold expansion. Rather, I went into the main in a completely horrendous position, and
it didn't work out so well, I'm not gonna lie.
I got face smacked, and then I try to counter on this bottom, and I'm like, why the hell did I just send 3 ghosts and
I'm
3
just
more?
gonna pause it really fast. This is 25-43. We have a 3 Marine, 3 Ghost army, and that's about it.
So it's like, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna multitask, and then I'm sitting here, I'm like, what the hell just happened? And I was just like, ah. And I'm like, I just gave him the gold expansion basically, and now we're sitting, and I have no units, and he has 5 Colossus out, and I'm just like,
Oh, what
God
is
damn
this
it.
one?
And I even said, I was on stream casting this at the same time, and I was like, I'm gonna lose this. I'm a freaking dumbass. I am in such bad position right now
Oh
because
man, dude, you shouldn't
I could
chat and
not
play.
believe it. And it made me QQ so hard, man.
Oh my god, that's so good. Yeah, he has as many colossi as you have units total attacking that south base. That is great. All right, I'm resuming right now. I just hit 25, 45. All right, so that didn't go so well. Hey, at least he EMP'd. Not the biggest loss in the world. It looks like you almost get a Colossus. Okay, so right here, I see you run up and suicide to kill one Colossus. I would have backed out right there. Do you have thoughts on suiciding there to kill the Colossus? Is it really that valuable to keep the Colossus count just down by 1 when you end up losing 6-7 Marauders Marines?
Okay, I'll explain why I need to suicide like that. I'm so barracks heavy right now, and I have no starports to combat a heavy Colossus army. So right now, I actually just started making some starports, but it's because the position of my game, I don't have a lot of ground force, so I can't really put a lot of minerals and gas to that air tech.
Yeah.
So really, if I let the Colossus count get out of control, I'm going to get destroyed come when he takes his gold and then takes the other expansion, and then I'm sitting there like dumbfounded because he has this huge army that can't be stopped, and I'm stuck with Marine Marauder, and I never had the chance even to get some sort of Viking tech.
Yeah, so I see you doing drops up here at the top, but he spots the Phoenixes and just kills it off. Do you still think this is a good play? Perhaps you should have moved the rest of your army down here, poked at this expo to draw his forces, and then drop it? Like, how do you execute medevac drops in a situation where you don't have complete freedom of air control?
Well, you need to scan it. That was, again, just being... Again, because I was like, there's no way I could lose this, right? And I was just like, I'll just do whatever the hell I want. And then I was like, oh, Andre, I should have actually medevac dropped. So why don't I go and do that now at the worst possible time when there's a lull, right? You don't medevac drop when there's a lull. You do it when you kind of like look like you're going to be pressuring, and then you force units to this one area, and then you go drop. And if there is openings for you to attack, you go. If not, you just chill out. But
Yeah,
doing it blind like that, when I don't know if any observers are right there, that's probably the single most dumbest move I could have done.
It reminds me a lot of when I'm playing Street Fighter 4, because I don't know if any of you know this, but I cannot do a left dragon punch to save my life. So I'll
Dude, I'm the same way. Holy crap!
I know. Okay, I'm pausing. I cannot left dragon punch. I don't know about you, but what happens is like I try to left dragon punch, and then my guy just goes, does a stupid punch, and you know what I do? I immediately try again, right? And then and he like does it again. He like tweaks and then punches, and I just keep doing it until I actually execute it, and that's bad because he'll look at me and go, "Oh, that retard's trying to dragon punch," and I'll just come over and like, do a super combo. Whoops! Unplug my headphones. Hope it's feedback. Whew, that was close. Because sometimes I have imposable feedback on my viewership, which is always fun. But I think that's actually a useful analogy because, like, you think, oh, what should I have done? Oh, a medevac drop. That would have helped me. Let me try a medevac drop right now. It's just like, ugh, So I'm actually going to go back to the game and just, let's say for the record, left dragon punches are impossible.
Impossible.
So I am resuming this game in 3, 2, 1, playing it at 29, 13, getting planetary fortresses and orbital command. I see you very light on the planetary fortresses on this map. I like that a lot because you can just turtle so easily on those 3 bases, and really the gold is the only exposed one.
The reason why I don't like planetary fortresses is that if you are getting them, you're already in a position where you're defending, and you're probably already lost. You need center control without a doubt. If you don't have the center control, you've already lost the game because every single other position is really, really tight. And it's like Colossus are money makers there. But if you control the center, and then again, it's like, oh man, I'm so dumb doing these attacks. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Now, I actually don't think this is that bad of an attack if you actually move up into the main right now.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Well, because right here, it's getting cut in half and getting cornered like this. I mean, the main has plenty of room through the micro. Yeah, this is... Oh, Andre. Oh, no, man. Oh, man. Andre. Oh, man. Colossi really are pretty good in this matchup. Hey, look, you're loading up to do a medevac drop. Better late than never.
No, I just chill them. They go inside. I think because I have this problem of spamming during game, and I actually scanned, and I'm like, oh, my timing to get out of here. And he's like, LOL, kid. What the hell are you doing, kid? I'm like, oh.
Oh yeah, I mean I know how that feels. And you're like, come on, come on. Oh, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. It's like forward field, forward field, forward field.
But you can see, like, it was stupid of me to push out there because I don't have Viking count to deal with all of that. And now I finally get Viking count, and I have no Marine Marauder count. It's like, I was just so dumbfounded this whole game. I don't know what I was doing. And now you can see my Viking count can actually contest with this Colossus. But because the Colossus have such great burst damage, like, what I try to do is just kill as many Stalkers as possible. And then, you know, you just do these perpetual waves and try to keep sniping these Colossus as much as possible. But of course, I'm like, if he has good micro and everything, I was just desperate here. That's the best word for it. I was just desperate, and it was just not going well. I was playing so stupid. I thought I played to this, like, up to when I screwed all my units over. I thought I was playing perfect, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom. It's like something hit my head, and I couldn't play correctly.
Oh man, either way, it's pretty funny. now, I'm seeing Oxlov. He's going basically to Robo. I mean, in the production, we really see hardly any gateway units being made. He's going to Starport or Stargate, and he's adding on 2 more Stargate. What do you think about that play in general? While again, there's a little bit of a lull in action.
Yeah, I mean, gateway units, they're good for buffers. That's their best, like, they're good tanking units, but that's about it. At endgame, I'm saying, because they just don't have the DPS. Really, the main DPS in any PvT battle is going to be your Colossus and your High Templar Storm. And in the beginning, you can get away with gateway units. I'm not saying gateway units are bad. It's just that in endgame, I think if you have a good medevac count, it's like impossible to kill mass Marine Marauder medevac with just gateway units. Well, High Templars, of course. I'm talking about, you know, pre-High Templars. So I can see why he's going this Colossus Stargate build, because he wants to combat my Vikings and have his other, what's it called?
Colossus? His DPSers?
Yeah, his Colossus. Yeah, his DPSers do the damage. But I think it would have been much better if he just teched a High Templar. I know he would be High Templar light like hell. And here, I was so pissed off because all my Marines, I didn't group them in, and it's like, oh, my Vikings go. And it's like, fuck, and I did it again, man. Like, instead of not, and then I was just like, okay, screw it. I have this game won. And then his Colossus, what the fuck is this shit? Oh man, I'm so angry. I was so angry.
How did you win that? I'm honestly in shock that actually ended with somehow you having more units in the end.
Well, it's because there's so many Phoenixes, man. Like, throwing that many Phoenixes really, it reduces that Colossus thing. For every 2 Phoenix, that's a potential Colossus. So right there before, that was like 8 Phoenixes. He could have been, or maybe even more, I think 10. He could have been 5 Colossus more and just destroyed everything that I had. But he opted to go the Phoenix, and I think he overdid it, of course, with the Phoenixes. But now I'm like, where the hell are all my minerals? I don't know what the hell is going on. And I'm just like, I lost this game. I have in my head, I have lost this game. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to go to the main again for no apparent reason.
No, but see, this I actually, if you can get into the main, I think it's good. I think you get potential ramp, it's just like beyond horrendous. But I mean, hey, this is looking pretty Gosu for you. Oh, Speed Zealot, for the record, that is my favorite unit in StarCraft 2, Speed Zealot. Oh, baby. Oh, look at all that Rebel. Make a castle out of that Marauder Rebel in Minecraft.
And now my SCVs battling because they're pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, they do seem like awesome SCVs. Now, I'm curious about the fact that you really did go Marine, Marauder, Medevac, Viking, Ghost all game long. Are you the opinion that you could eventually transition to tanks in some regard? Like, I know that Nema, the European player, uses a lot of tanks in this matchup successfully.
I think tanks are pretty bad. Just god-awful.
And there you have it. Is there a reason why? I mean, this last attack, I mean, the game has kind of hit the point of just being epic. So, I mean, I can just watch as it's being epic right now, but I mean, like, do you... Like, why is it the tanks are so bad in your eyes?
It's just because there's no good time to start getting them. there's no good like transition into them for them to be effective. So like if you get them right in the beginning, it's like, okay, every single form of aggression is gone, especially with the nerf. Every form of aggression is basically gone. You can't really do much with it. And then not only that, starting into mid-game, let's say a map like Metalopolis, where are you going to position your tanks that are completely stable to everything? And note that there is, if you get tanks, there should be immediately a Mothership, and there should be Blink Stalkers. Okay, so you're going to be up against Blink Stalker, Colossus, Mothership. How are you going to deal with that mobility? It's like insane.
Tanks are in balance. I love tanks. They're so good.
And as soon as you get carrier tech, all that's negated. So what are you going to do? Viking tech? Well, you don't have the gas really to go Viking tech. And you didn't have the mobility to get an expansion advantage. So what's the point of doing that?
Well, and this is cute. The long-range mule mine. That's a stroke of brilliance there. I'm into that. And it looks like he was transitioning to carriers. Obviously, he was a little bit broke on money, so it couldn't really come to fruition. But like, what are your thoughts on carrier tech at this game, or at this point?
They're freaking. Well, at this point in the game, I mean, it didn't even matter what.
When your opponent has 25 food, do you think carrier transition is a good idea? Like, but I mean, like in a normal game.
Carriers are stupid strong. I think in any long game matchup, you should always go carriers.
Yeah,
always. There's never a reason not to.
And there's the good game. Oof, man. Woo, ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, not only was that intense, I think Oxalov played really, really well. I mean, he got caught off guard a few times, but couldn't handle the Gretorp. Couldn't handle the Andre.
Indeed. It's a lot to handle, man. You know.
So do you have any final reflecting thoughts on that game while I start organizing some questions?
Sure. I mean, I think the biggest thing is that I stayed on this Viking count, and I was going over my head, because if you look at my tab, I'm at 1900 gas. And I was going in my head, what could I have done to spend that efficiently?
Yeah.
And it was like, done. The most obvious thing, I go Raven. And I think as soon as I hit the 6 gas, I'm now going to, when I get my starports going, it's going to be one's going to have a reactor, and then one's going to have a tech lab. I'm going to start trying that, going Raven, Mass Raven, and Vikings, or Medivacs, or whatever have you.
For the point defense drones, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it gives my Vikings the ability to actually suicide in and initiate on the Protoss, because generally, you initiate with your whole army. Now I can actually initiate onto the Protoss with the point defense drones. And that's going to help a lot of movement tricks. So the biggest thing I'm thinking of is I have my Vikings, right? I'm forcing a little bit in the front, and then I have 2 Medivacs coming behind. He has to push back to defend against the Medivacs, and now he's forced to defend at a place where, let's say, his natural is. And then I can just slab down those defense drones and then just initiate with my Vikings, and my Marine Marauders can follow up afterwards. So that's what I'm thinking with doing with that gas.
So I have a question
otherwise,
that someone had. Okay, so I'm totally cutting you off, but this still relates back to the same question. Where my Vanilla Thunder says, I love how Gretorp talks about how terribly he played and threw away his army constantly, yet he completely wins. And then he says, yeah, PvT is hard for Terrans. So I actually want to change that to be more positive. So, I mean, you and I were joking about getting in some bad army positions and losing your whole army, like 5 times. But, I mean, what is it that allowed you to stay in the game? Was it that Oxalov was making mistakes? Because I think that his transition to getting 4 Stargate Phoenix really weakened him in the late game. But, I mean, even before then in the mid game, why is it that he wasn't really able to push in for the kill?
It was basically Colossus retention. And that's the biggest thing. I was able to snipe out all of his Colossus, and a lot of times he did do micro mistakes. So I was able to snipe off the Colossus, and that's like in StarCraft 1, if you lose your tanks in the beginning, it like affects you exponentially at the end. Because then you have no positional play anymore once you lose your Colossus. Now it's just like, oh, I have to defend. There's no place that you can defend really on this map that's very, very efficient. So you have to spread around a little bit. And because there was a trade, it wasn't necessarily that I lost all my shit and that's it, right? And oh wow, Terran's OP. It's the fact that I was already ahead in economy,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
ahead in production.
Yeah, you did have that gold up, and once it was up, it just stayed up the whole game. And, I mean,
Yeah,
Oxlov was,
correct.
like, losing that gold again and again and again and again and again, was just hanging in there strong.
Yeah, so I had those two, the production and the economy. So I was able to generate my army much faster than him. So it always gave me that advantage. But because he had no Colossus retention, he had no positional advantage. A lot of times you want to take like that middle where the two ramps kind of collide.
Yeah, yeah.
You want to take that position as a Protoss and just have a lot of Colossus. And then you can tech to High Templars, and you're like, okay, attack me, and I'll LOL on you, you know? And then you tech to carriers, and it's like, okay, I can attack with 3 carriers in this position. Go ahead and send your Vikings, because my Colossus are going to LOL you in this position.
Yeah,
So there's a
yeah.
lot of different things. And it's basically because Oxlov on this map didn't have retention in that army, and I was able to take advantage of it with, you know, obvious movement stuff, because he couldn't position his army that was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
very, very optimal.
All right, so we got a few more questions. Oh, I scrolled past the good one. Hold on, I'm actually going to go back and find that one, because that one was awesome. There. Question from this_1 says, it wasn't the smoothest win ever, and there was definitely a window for a loss in there. How do you recover as a player from such a devastating loss to your main army? And I'm sure he means, like, in the game. How do you stay? It's not like you lose your army and, like, 2 weeks later you're in a corner rocking like an autistic child, just like, I miss my army. Like, how do you stay calm and focused when, like, you know, your whole army goes out the window, or when you get that sudden feeling of, oh my god, I've lost?
Well, you have to really take each... I mean, it's tough. Because your nerves are going to get to you, and you're going to be so angry at the time. But a lot of times, like, I've programmed my brain whenever it feels like that to say stop and rethink about the position and what you have to do. And then as soon as you do that, you just go from there and play independently of what you've originally did. And yeah, it's easier said on paper than actually doing it. But that's probably the main thing you have to do. You have to just reset and say, as soon as you think that feeling like, oh my god, I just lost everything, you immediately have to think, what should be my army composition? Where should I be playing now? What should be my goal now that I've lost all of this? How should I recover? And a lot of times you'll have to do this play that involves you hard countering something, because that's the only way to get back into it. And as long as they don't catch it or something like that, you can generally get back. Well, not generally get back in, but it gives you that fighting chance to become competent in the game again.
Now, here's a really interesting question by Bunny IP Andler, who says, if you were watching this game and it was someone else playing Terran, would you have had different thoughts about the game? Was the fact that it was you playing and analyzing this replay really influencing how you were thinking? Because that is kind of an interesting question. Because, I mean, like, you know, we were kind of joking about the, oh, yeah, you know, you tab through your control groups and stuff like that, and it would probably be faster to use the 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, if you were watching another Terran play and you saw that sort of thing, or if you saw those sort of army attacks, like... I mean, because I feel... I don't know, I'll let you answer. I'm not going to keep qualifying it.
That's a tough question. I want to say that I would be independent. I think I phrase things much nicer when I'm talking about other people, but I think I would can't come to the same conclusion of everything, because I don't see a reason for me changing my assumptions or my theory just because it's a different person. I think that whole theory will still retain.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought it was really funny that you said, like, if it was someone else, I probably would have worded it a lot nicer, because I'm like the same way. When I analyze my own games, I'm like, God, I'm so awful. Like, I'm just, like, shaking with anger. I'm like, God, I can't believe I was like, I forgot one pro. I was like, snap my neck and kill myself. Like, but, and let that be a lesson to you. It's totally okay to be really hard on yourself in analysis. I actually think it's a real big mistake to go in, like, out of that mindset. Like, you know, like, I just hit 1600 Diamond Protoss. I'm in the winner's circle. And then you're watching your own games like, oh, look at me winning. You only save games of you winning, you know? And you're just like, oh, I truly am awesome. If only StarCraft 2 had replay playlists. Then I can watch all my wins from my bed in my Ming Persian robe. Like, oh, alright, so... Oh yeah, here's the last great question from Clairvoyant Zeal. Gretorp, why didn't you get nukes? What's with that, man? I actually think that that would have helped quite a bit in that game, like doing pushes at the gold and medevac drops at the corner. Because, I mean, he's probably not going to have that many observers if he's making that many Colossi.
Well, I just want to go over what would be the purpose of the nuke, right? The
What, did
biggest
you just
purpose.
say that? It's a nuclear bomb, dude. Well, I mean,
Well, is this a serious question or a troll question? I don't know.
okay, so I'll make it serious, because I mean nukes are definitely good at like busting entrenched positions. I mean, because I'm specifically thinking about that south gold where you'd have to wander up that corner or that semi-narrow ramp before it widens again, and if you just planted a nuke, he would have to fall back, at least a little bit.
Okay. Well.
What do you think
Okay,
about
so there's two different options that can happen from that, right? One, he pushes into me, and I'm kind of either lose my ghost completely, or he, or what's it called? Or we have an engagement there, and I lose my ghost, or we don't have engagement there, and I lose my ghost anyway. Okay? Or the nuke does threaten him, and he pushes back. Okay, so he pushes back. I follow up into that narrow place, and then now he has the most beautiful concave with all of his Colossus on me. So I don't really see a good way to use nuke to give me position on that. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I know nukes are great. I actually use nukes on Desert Oasis. I think that's really good.
Yeah, well, because I mean, the big advantage I see to a nuke is that it's one unit creating a huge threat, in kind of way that like a medevac is a small amount of units creating a huge threat. In Desert Oasis, you can nuke their main from that cliff.
Yeah, man.
By the gas side, and that's awesome.
Well, now it's too big, so you can't do it. It really made me sad, man.
I love Desert Oasis. That's just the best.
But yeah, I don't think nuke was really plausible in this position because it just doesn't give me the positional advantage that's optimal for me, you know?
Well, Gretorp. It was awesome, but it's the end of the daily. Got to wrap it up. So if you have any last shout-outs, make them, because I'm muting you real soon.
Thanks for watching.
That was easy. And muted. Bam! Getting them. So thank you very much for coming on, Andre Gretorp. Of course, you should check out much of his play at tournaments such as MLGDC that I will be at in 2 weekends. This weekend, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow to go to the New York Comic-Con to do the ESL American Championship, where we have, I think I can name all of them. Suggy, Drooby, Cathon Luck, QXE, Kiwikaki, Huck, Phoenix, someone else. I can't remember. There's an 8th player there. He's Terran. But yeah, you should definitely come by there. It'll be awesome because I'll be shoutcasting with the Gun Run, which I should wave to because I see him there in the chat. Also, I will be on the Old Spice Report with MLG tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Just doing a little preview of MLG DC from my room, says Sean, dropping more pencils. And then I will be at BlizzCon, so you can wave to me, and we can high-five and give each other pounds and stuff. And then I will be at the MSI Cup, doing a little casting of that with DJ Wheat. And then DreamHack in Sweden. Ha! So, without any further ado, big thanks for tuning in to Friendday Wednesday. For next Fun Day Monday, submit to me a replay of you doing a 3v3 or 4v4, where every player on your team announces what one unit he will make for the whole game. And of course, you are allowed to make Overlords, Queens, Overseers, Observers. That's it. No other exceptions. If you're going mass Baneling, I know the Zerglings have to exist for a little while. Just make them into Banelings ASAP, man. Oh yeah, and workers. You can make workers too. Sheesh. And then for a Newbie Tuesday, send me replays of you losing to Banshees in however way they end up killing you. Either they were really frustrating, it was a Banshee rush, etc., etc., etc. And send those to Monday at day9.tv and Tuesday at day9.tv, respectively. And we will have another special guest coming on next week, same time as today for Friendday Wednesday. Thanks so much for tuning in. Peace out. See you later, alligators. And recording getting stopped.